Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another wrestling talk, I guess. I don't really know what I'm going to call these. Probably just like different topics and stuff like that. But this is, well, actually, no, I do have a name for this. Never mind. State of Wrestling for, I don't know what the, is it going to let me? It doesn't say the date. I'm not sure. Whatever this week is, it will be today's date. My update, my talk about what's going on in professional wrestling. The first news I want to talk about is and I kind of want to actually I may make another video for that going in more depth, but crazy news: Chris Jericho taking on Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 12. So if you have no idea about New Japan, boy, you got to get on board, because New Japan is doing some amazing stuff in Japan. They're coming to America. They did that numerous times. I'm gonna turn this off. Turn this big LED on. I'm getting ready to do some recording today. But New Japan is doing some awesome stuff. So if you don't watch New Japan, you've got to get on it. They're really like on the ball with getting this new stuff going. So with that being said, let's get into pro wrestling for this week. So this week, you don't really expect much from Monday Night Raw. You just really don't. You really don't expect anything lately. But it's been getting really, really good lately. And I know some people tend to be negative, and I hate to be negative. So I'm not going to talk about really much bad stuff. And there really isn't much bad stuff to talk about. There was some lackluster things that happened. But, I mean, really, it's, more or less, it's just, the same things that get you down about Raw or SmackDown. They'll happen. But, there was a lot of stuff that happened this week. So I watched SmackDown last night. I actually watched Raw. Did I watch all of Raw? Yeah, I watched all of Raw. I watched all SmackDown. Fast forward through a few slow things, because there was things that were not necessary that they had, and that's what the things that are not necessary, and they're just basic wrestling matches, and they have no bearing on what happens at all. Those are the matches I like, and I understand they have to. Well, I don't really like. That's why I didn't mean to say that. I don't really like, but I know they have to happen. But I'm just not going to watch them, really, because if I can get the same result, like if I feel like watching them, I'll watch them. But most of the time, I'm not. Especially like tag matches and stuff like that. That's just not a thing for me that I really enjoy watching, Anyways, so Raw, let's talk about Monday Night Raw first. So Monday Night Raw started off with a bang. Miz, then they're cutting the promo on Baron Corbin. Really good. They seem to have a thing. I don't think anything's going to change unless Baron Corbin, for some reason, has to put the title on next week, or on the line next week on SmackDown. I cannot talk this morning. I don't know why. But yeah, it should be a pretty good match at Survivor Series. Next week, I'll probably do my predictions video on Thursday or Friday, one of the two. It's before the pay-per-view, so I'll do my predictions video, because there could be something that happens next week. So I kind of don't want to do my predictions video now, but I'll do it next week. I pretty much know. I mean, I don't really know. Miz and Corbin could go either way. Corbin could go ever, because Miz should have no problem eating a loss when he's not going to lose the Intercontinental Championship, getting the win. Baron was just in trouble behind the scenes, so he could eat the pin just because they're high on Miz because he's doing great work, and Baron's still kind of a douchebag, probably behind the scenes, and he's still trying to build his credibility up, I think. But then again, they could be pushing Baron. So there's a lot of things to think about with that match. But anyway, Kurt Angle comes out. Really good interaction between him and Miz. I liked how when Miz started to talk up to him, he was acting like the pissed off GM. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you're facing Braun tonight, mother effer." So I enjoyed that. And Braun taking on the Miz. That was entertaining. It was more of an entertaining match. I'm skipping to that. I'm not going to talk about every aspect of Monday Night Raw. Asuka had a match with a local. I do know that she does wrestle in America she said she was I looked on her Twitter. I found her Twitter. Her name is like Isla something. Was her real name? It's not Stacey Coates. That was just a name WWE came up with her. So I don't know. And I mean, that could lead to her being in, coming in training. Some of these women they bring in locally is kind of cool. I think there's been a couple end up in NXT a couple times after the fact. They've showed up just to have like a basic match with one of the NXT people. I thought there was another because I thought that one lady was on SmackDown and then she ended up being on NXT one time. She looks like a '50s pinup star or whatever. I don't remember. Whatever. I could be wrong. But I thought there's been a couple. There's been one or two that showed up on NXT or something. But besides that, Raw had some interesting things happen. The tag team titles were on the line. So here's what happened. Okay, during Raw, they announced that Miz was taking on Braun Strowman, and I thought, well, that's got to be the main event. They announced the tag team title match. I'm like, okay, well, that's probably going to go on before Braun and Miz, because that's probably the main event. The Miz and Braun, they started doing the promos. I'm like, whoa, wait a second now. The tag team titles is the main event? And I'm like, titles are changing hands. Guaranteed, titles are changing hands. I called it, and it happened. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I really didn't think the interference was needed. I think they could have did it in their own way. And Sheamus Cesaro, whatever. But the way it ended with New Day coming down through the crowd and just, making a bunch of chaos happen. It was just hilarious how, there was nobody from SmackDown there. And they're just, making people think that there was people from SmackDown there. And everybody, was surrounded. The whole entire roster was surrounding the ring and running around the building trying to... I know it's hilarious. New Day caused all this chaos. But the one I'm thinking about this is how are they getting out of the building if they have people surrounding all the exits and stuff like that? How would New Day get out of the building then? That's my thing. It's I don't know. The logic sometimes gets thrown out the window. But anyways, so Raw was pretty good. Pete Dunne showed up to beat Enzo. Which we'll get to 205 Live in a second. Where I was like, what? During that main event. But Pete Dunne gets a win over Enzo. Enzo's trying to cheat, I think, a couple times on Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne gets a win. But it looks like a face turn for Pete Dunne on the WWE main roster. But I think they just brought him in. It didn't really matter. It was just because Enzo was heel. That's the only reason why I think he was working face. But he was still doing his heel stuff with the the fist and everything. But yeah, Pete Dunne's great. I can't wait. And if they're not going to do anything with the UK, title, which I think that they're getting ready to do something, that I have a feeling they need, because every time they trot them out, they get a huge response. I don't care if they're in the UK or not. You could be in Mexico and trot out the flipping UK people, and you would get a huge response because they're amazing talents in the ring. They could do a lot of stuff that the other wrestlers can't do. They put on tremendous matches. I mean, one of the best matches in WWE this year was, I think it was this year. Yeah, this year was Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne at TakeOver, I think around WrestleMania last year. That was one of the matches. I can't think of a better match than that, to be quite honest. I can't think of a better match. Even all the AJ matches put together, I cannot think of a match that's better than that. Probably it would be on the same show. They had, I think, the triple threat tag title match was up there too. Two of the best matches of the year on the same card. That's a lot coming from that they're not even the main roster matches. They're NXT matches. And that's pretty bad when your promotion, your farm system is having better matches than the main card. That's saying something. And that they're mostly still in NXT and they're not even on the main roster. You have the Revival, who's had some problems with injuries, I understand. But you have people on the roster that could put on those matches. You have Balor and Joe, which you just now put them in a program. Ooh, yeah, that thing on that thing on Raw, that's awesome. And they better put them in a feud. And I just talked about this in wrestling. I think my wrestling video a few days ago, or last week or whatever, when I talked about wrestling, is that's the biggest problem with the WWE right now, is that they don't have feuds going on. It doesn't matter if a title is involved. You got to have feuds. Because that's the major problem with them, is the fact that they continue to have these shows and pay-per-views, and they have the weekly things, and when you have a disposal of having any show at any time go onto the network, you have WWE Main Event. You have 205 Live. You have all these other stuff where you can do feuds. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you have nothing for Apollo Crews to do, and you have, Lince Dorado on the flipping 205 Live, who is not involved in the feud right now, put them in the feud together. It doesn't matter. You can have Apollo come on 205 Live, whatever. Apollo Crews is invited to 205 Live. They just invited to flipping UK. Why can't you invite some other wrestlers to come on there? Just saying. I'm just saying. Anyways, so Finn Balor, Joe, they better stick them in a feud after Survivor Series. Because, dude, they lit that up. That was some great stuff going on Raw between them. Oh, Lord. That, and here's the thing about this. We've seen pull apart brawls. Lesnar's pretty good at them. Undertaker, he's getting old. He can't. I'm just remembering that pull apart between him and Brock. Him and Joe, Brock and Joe had pretty good ones. But Finn and Joe, they showed how you really do a pull-apart brawl. That is how you do a pull-apart brawl. And not the whole thing where you hold back one of them and one of them's like, I'm going to leap at the guy. Stop doing that. The way Balor and Joe were doing it, that's the way you want to do it. Where as soon as you, they're not holding back. As soon as they even get an inch, they're going to take a punch at the other guy. That's what you got to do in a pull-apart brawl. Not... Yeah, some people I don't know. And, whatever. But Raw was really good. There's a lot of stuff going on. The women's division is kind of, right now. It's kind of, Alexa Bliss. I don't know who she's going to take on. Next week on SmackDown, Charlotte versus Natalya. I have a feeling, just going on a limb here, they're pretty obvious right now that either the U.S. title is going to be on the line and Corbin's going to drop it because of interference, and that's why Corbin's going to drop the title to somebody, or Charlotte's going to win the Women's Championship, which is most likely, and Charlotte will take on Alexa Bliss at Survivor Series. I think they're really going to blow this Survivor Series up. This is probably going to be one of the best Survivor Series we have seen in a long time. Let's hold on. Before I go on to SmackDown, let's talk about what so far is signed. I had to talk about the main event. AJ Styles defeated Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship. No shenanigans. Awesome. AJ versus Brock Lesnar. The only thing I'm saying and thinking about is, will Jinder invoke his rematch clause next week and get the title back? Because they built up Jinder for such a long time, and I think him and Brock could do some good stuff. But AJ and Brock, that's such a blockbuster main event, man. But even Jinder, I think he could go out there and do a heck of a main event. But if Jinder and him go and do that, then they'll be the semi-main event, and then the main event will be the Survivor Series match, which I think could happen. I mean, it would be awesome. But I think they want the Brock match to be the headliner. So Brock and AJ is amazing. I don't even know where to go with that. So my predictions video, I'll have to think about it, stew about it, and figure out who I think is going to win. The Survivor Series match, which we're still waiting on the fifth member on SmackDown, have no idea what that's all about. I have a theory about the women's tag match of Survivor Series. I have a huge theory. There was announced a certain somebody is coming back to WWE wrestling soon. Women wrestler. If they had the women's championship next week and Natalya drops it to Charlotte, they will leave an open spot on the women's Survivor Series team. Now, I know everybody out there is probably thinking, well, yeah, Natalya is going to be on it. Probably not. But what's going to happen is if in the main event, the women's title is decided, it's going to leave it open, and you're not going to know who is going to be replacing her. You're just going to assume, going into Survivor Series, that Natalya is going to be on the team. Paige might return at Survivor Series. I hope they leave it for a surprise, so there's a huge pop for her when she comes out, because I think there will be. Because she's been on TV for it's been 2 years? I don't know, I think it's been 2 years. And the thing about that is that I hope they don't announce it on the website or the network on Twitter. Don't announce it, WWE. Leave it alone. Let her come out. Let Natalya think she's going to be the member. And then she comes out and maybe Daniel Bryan said, no, hold on. You're not the... Sorry. We already got a replacement. We didn't know you were interested. Or something. I don't know. Come up with some storyline. Or maybe have them face in the pre-show to see who gets on Team SmackDown or something. But yeah, and then we got the women's thing match. We got the men's tag match. Traditional Survivor Series match. We got Kalisto and Enzo. I don't know where I'm going to go with that prediction. I have no clue. It was flip-flop on that belt, too. The Tag Team Championship, Usos versus, which now, I don't know if the guy's injured. Hopefully he's not injured. I don't know. That's kind of weird. It kind of ended weird. Like, I don't know what happened there. Hopefully they're not injured. Hopefully they don't have to put, like, the New Day in that. I don't know. Because it's supposed to be probably New Day versus Shield, I'm assuming, at Survivor Series because of what happened. I kind of hope they didn't tease that for no reason. But good God, if they put the New Day in, if they have Charlotte drop the women's, or have Charlotte win the women's championship, and they add a New Day versus Shield match at Survivor Series, it's going to be the best pay-per-view of the year thus far. There is no doubt about it. I mean, on paper, it's going to be good, and you can't lose with that. AJ never puts on a bad match. Even if it's Lesnar, he's not going to stink up the joint. I'm going to tell you right now, if AJ goes to talk to Brock, and Brock's being a douchebag about not wanting to do certain things in the match, if I were AJ, I would just go to Vince and say, I'm not wrestling him. He's going to make me look like garbage out there. You need to tell that boy, put up or shut up. Or give me a count-out win over Brock. That's what I would say if I was AJ and Brock. Because you know what the history of Brock. Dean Ambrose talked about this. And I'm kind of pissed. Because knowing that Brock didn't want to do anything. Dude, all he wants you to do is beat the holy crap out of him. That's all he was asking. That's all he was telling Brock. He wanted him to do some different stunts to where Ambrose would get hurt. I'm pretty sure that's what Ambrose was talking about. And Brock was like, no, we're going to do this. Really? Really? And the match sucked between him and Dean. It could have been so much more. It was built up so good, and then nothing. It stunk up the joint at that WrestleMania. It was bad. Bad to the bone. Was not good. But 205 Live happened. Get away from the sun. 205 Live happened. It was actually an entertaining 205 Live because the UK guys were there. We saw Jack Gallagher take on Kalisto. I'm probably staring at my phone during that match. I don't like Kalisto. Here's the thing about Kalisto. Let me talk about Kalisto for a second, okay? This guy has... he doesn't have something. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't have it. You know that thing when you get signed to a contract and you know Vince or Triple H sees you and go, hey, he's got it. He's got that thing. Bring him up. I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the way, Kalisto lost that thing. Because something about him, I want to say he doesn't have charisma, but the fans kind of react to him. He can't talk on the mic. He can wrestle, but even his wrestling is kind of boring. Does the same stuff all the time, really. So it's kind of hard to say. I think he's got charisma, and he's got the fans behind him, but he just can't talk, and his wrestling's getting a little boring. So I don't know. I don't know. I think he's going to end up. I think they need to put him in a tag team, or if they're going to do a cruiserweight tag title, that would be kind of interesting. And put him and Lince Dorado together or something, or put him back on SmackDown and have him team with Sin Cara and have them be the tag team. I don't know. They're going to be jobber a tag team no matter what, wherever they go, unless they have a cruiserweight tag title thing and then have him win that. He does not have a place on any roster. I will tell you that. But him and Jack Gallagher out of the match, really stupid. Ended with whatever we call his circus move, backflip, neckbreaker thing, whatever the hell. Circus Soleil. I thought that was like a thing in Las Vegas. Anyways, I don't know. The Soul, something, I don't know. dumb move. It like ended abruptly. Like it didn't even have like a crisp finish or something. It was just so stupid. Like it's almost like Hulk Hogan punching somebody twice and doing a leg drop and immediately pinning them, and then they'd be like, and you're like going, wait, hold on, it's over already? Like what's going on? This ended really weird like that. And then we had Mark Andrews, who was basically the cruiserweight wrestler from the UK tournament. That's random. A bag just fell down the table. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. But anyway, Mark Andrews and Cedric Alexander took on James Drake and Joseph Connors. I had to think for a second. And Joseph Connors and James Drake made it look like a joke during this match. Lord. Good Lord. I like Cedric Alexander. Not a huge fan of Mark Andrews. I will say that. I'm not a huge fan of Mark Andrews. I like Joseph Connors. James Drake, I haven't really seen enough of him. He seems like kind of a bland wrestler, though. I didn't really like him in the UK tournament either. Joseph Connors beat James in the tournament. So we don't have any story between these people. That's the bad thing. They just show up randomly on WWE programming. Thank you, WWE. And they reminded us, yeah, you had the tournament in January. January! It is November now. On the watch. See, there's no watch. But anyways, it's been almost a year. There has been the champion. He defended a couple times. Then he lost it to Pete Dunne. Nothing. You've done nothing. A year has gone by. I swear to God, at WrestleMania, they better announce something. maybe the night after WrestleMania, that's what they will announce. Well, the UK thing is going to be the last hour of Raw. Holy shit, finally, you're doing something with them. That'll be interesting. The Cruiserweight division and the UK are on Raw. You got enough time? Hell, shit. Duo Live was pretty good. Yeah, and then you had Enzo Amore versus Tyler Bates. And really good match. I thought it was really good, really entertaining. They put on a heck of a match. Then near the end, I walk out of the room for like a brief second. And I'm like, looking in here, trying to figure out what was going on. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, Bates on the outside, and Enzo's beating him up still, and he throws him in the ring, and Bates acts like he just got hit by freaking like a Mack truck or something. He's like rolling around in the ring, and Enzo's just doing moves to him. And then he hits his eat the feet, or whatever the hell he calls it now. He changes it like every week. What he calls it. I'm going to call it eat the feet because that's actually a pretty cool name. He does that move and proceeds to pin Tyler Bate. So Pete Dunne, who beat Tyler Bate in a one-on-one match, can beat Enzo. But Tyler Bate can't beat Enzo, who he wrestled 4 matches in one night to win the championship. Okay. WWE. Enzo. Your pet project needs to end. That's all I'm saying. Enzo has got to go. Got to do something. To be honest, here's what I would like to see with Enzo. And this should be a whole video, and that's probably what I will do. At some point, I'll tell you all the options for Enzo Amore. But here's, in short, paraphrasing, one sentence, make him a manager. He can talk. There's a lot of wrestlers on the roster who can't hold a microphone. They can't talk. They can't do nothing. Have him have a stable. He can't be like Kalisto, man. Sorry, Kalisto. You're fucked. That would make sense. Hi, I got my Mexican friend. I'm going to manage him. Wouldn't fit with the story. But if you had him in like Apollo Crews, or you had him in Titus Worldwide, and Titus steps back, let Enzo be the voice, that kind of probably wouldn't really work either. But if you had I'm trying to think of somebody that you could use him with, because I can't really think of anybody you could use Enzo Amore with, but he would have to be their manager. I mean, really, he would have to be their manager, and you don't need him on 205 Live. Don't even know. The only thing the one thing that pisses me off is that you turn Cass heel. You left Enzo babyface. You had him like teaming with the Big Show and doing all this garbage. Why didn't you just turn them both heel and have Cass go for the titles or whatever? I mean, the same thing would have happened. Okay, Cass would have got injured. Doesn't matter who he was facing, he would have got injured some way or another. It probably would have happened. But at least Enzo would have already been heel, and you wouldn't have to do all that crap with Neville and all this other stuff. It would have already been done. Okay, then you could have had Enzo manage somebody else. I don't know if he can manage. Get Bo Dallas away from Miz. Can manage Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas can talk, but maybe he's not the greatest talker in the world. And this could be it too. Get Bo and get Kurt away from the Miz. Put Enzo with him. Have him be his manager. Have him be the voice. They can talk. Have them kind of go after the Miz. Make Miz a babyface. Probably won't happen. Probably wouldn't work very well. But I'm just saying, it's an idea. At least I'm thinking about something. Or have them go after the tag titles. Have Enzo be their manager. It's something. I think those are actually the only options I could think of. Is Kurt and Bo being their manager. I think Enzo could. I really do think Enzo could be one of those. And I still think to this day, and this is what I'm thinking. I hope that WWE sees this. And I would think Vince is not that dumb to think this. But who knows? He's probably got his head so far up his ass he can't think about anything. But what I would do with Enzo is have him be the new Bobby Heenan. Think about it. He is so annoying. Everybody wants to see him get beat up. That's what they liked about Bobby Heenan. He was good, but he was funny. Enzo's kind of funny too sometimes, but he is really annoying. But he is funny sometimes. He says some funny stuff and stuff that just makes you want to go, did he really just say that? He does that. He says some stuff like on Toy Go Live. I like when one of the UK guys was like, something like, you'll never be as good as Finn Balor, brother. And he was like, well, whatever. He moves on to the next guy. He didn't even talk about Joseph Connors, which was really hilarious. But anyway, that's all I got to talk about, really, wrestling. I don't think I have anything else. GWF. I did want to talk about NWA Wrestling. Nothing going on with GWF, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call it. I haven't heard anything about them. No big news. They haven't got their shit together yet. Not going to talk about them. NWA Wrestling, though, you want to go there. You want to subscribe. It seems like Billy Corgan is getting the ball rolling. I think it's Tim Storm. I think he was on GWF at one point. I didn't see that episode, though. I don't have Pop TV. I watch YouTube stuff. Anyways, it's the only reason how I keep up with Impact, GWF, whatever you want to call it. But Tim Storm, there were a lot of video packages about him on YouTube, talking about Magnus showing up on NWA Wrestling. I don't know what the promotion is called. I don't know if they're just going to call it NWA Wrestling. I have no idea if that's what they're going to call it. But Billy Corgan seems he's pushing himself, kind of trying to show everyone how big of a wrestling fan he is. That's what these videos kind of was talking about. And also pushing Tim Storm and what he believes in wrestling, and what his beliefs are and what he likes in professional wrestling. Things like that were being told, and they're kind of pushing Tim Storm. They're showing some wrestling from him a little bit in like video packages and stuff, really kind of pushing the fact. And I hope Magnus does not get the NWA World Champion away from Tim Storm. That would be horrible. You can't have him be the first one to beat Tim Storm. Have Tim Storm hold on the title for now. Don't be doing that crap. Don't want to go down the road and Impact Wrestling's going on right now. Keep it strong. He's held the title for a while now. I think he's held the title for like at least a year, I'm thinking. Well, that's what I heard. I've heard from numerous sources. I think Steven Larson talked about it. They researched him and stuff on the show. I remember watching them. But anyways, I don't have anything else to talk about. I'm going to record some more videos. Hope you guys enjoyed the content coming out soon. And keep rocking and keep on watching wrestling. Yeah, I didn't watch NXT, by the way. Sorry. Next week. Oh, no, actually, no. I was going to wait till after the pay-per-view, and then I'll start watching NXT. And I'll talk about that. Okay. I'm just so lost on NXT right now. Sorry. Later. Keep rocking. Keep on watching wrestling.